I think we are all very aware about the challenges, at least the way that they're presented in societies. I grew up under apartheid in South Africa. So it was a society in which something was off. Something in the relationship between people was not right. And I think children are very astute. They notice. They notice when something in how we take care of each other or how we take care of animals or plants around us. If something is off, children pick up on that, and usually they will start asking questions. So I think, part of my waking up was growing up within that system and starting to ask questions. Yeah, and the only times I was actually I felt threatened was by white people. So that was also interesting for me. And I ended up in a homeland called the Transsky at that time, close to Port St. John's, where I saw people living in huts, learning how to till the soil again, white people and black people. I met white people who had run away from the South African army, who were learning about the indigenous spiritual culture of the African culture, which was so rich. And it just felt like, I just understood that somehow in community we can create the future we're dreaming of in the here and now. We can live it in our lives. And, systems come and go. We can fight them. Sometimes it's really worthwhile. Sometimes it's not really worthwhile. But what we can do is we can transform realities through our communities. So we all know about climate change and peak oil and peak everything and consumerism and death of biodiversity and using nature as if it was a resource and not a living field. But I think behind it is the question of why are we as human beings not able to listen deeply enough to the world in order to respond adequately. So I wrote a book actually in German about the power of collective wisdom, because I was very curious, why do we act in collectively stupid ways? Why would we destroy our world? Because for sure, we do have the solutions available. It feels like we do know what to do. So at the moment, I'm very interested, very preoccupied by the concept of trauma. Understanding, so I've come to this understanding that our nervous systems are contracted very often. And while we see small children, often when they're born, they're still very open systems. And as we grow older, we often, we have trauma that comes through our lineage, that is passed on from generation to generation. We live in fields of collective trauma in different countries, in different ways, but all of us do. We have agreements on how not to touch the trauma, and also we carry our personal trauma. So I could say more about this, but just to suffice that there's something in the self-healing mechanism, which I think is actually coming online now. So it's also the question whether anything is actually wrong or whether we're just in the process of waking up together slowly but surely, and that this is part of our journey as humanity on this planet.